the dummy JSON file. So Aditya have got it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, fine. You do that, guys. I mean, if you have any questions, let me know. So, guys, before we start the class, I think Sonali, you have some questions. Can you please put it out so that we'll answer your questions, then we go forward.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have a doubt. How JavaScript helps to open and close new window?
Sorry, could
Hello.
you repeat again? How?
How JavaScript helps to open and close new window?
Okay, there is a concept, something called as window.open. Okay, we already seen something called as window object. Remember when we are talking about the DHTML, I said that there is a window object, right? So you can say simply window.open method. Under that, you can specify what is the URL which has to be open. In this way, you can actually use the JavaScript to open a window. In the same way, window.close also will work to close the window.
Okay, sir. Sir, could you go to my assignment folder?
Okay, sure. Okay.
Sonali, sir, in assignment 5 IS, where is it? Okay, assignment 5
This
IS.
is the one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, actually here I can't hide the spriting image, previous spriting image.
You can't hide the previous, I mean, you mean to say these left guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what actually those are? This is a OL. Okay. This is a div. And this is the image. Why these two images are coming? You go with an li. Okay. You give the div float left, margin right, this much of margin right. Okay. Background image. Obviously, you gave the background image, but you haven't used the background position, right? Why you are giving width of so and so? The width should be 138 and 130 pixel only, right? The width should be. And now you need to control the, you have never used, even though you are using the background element, I mean the spriting image, you are not using the background hyphen position property, right? Oh,
Yes,
you are
sir.
you are using it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let me reload this guy. Okay, so the problem is you are giving this much of width. You should not give this much of width, right? Say some 120 pixel. Okay, now you give the position. First of all, what is your spriting image? Open this guy, open a new tab. This is how it is. Why this much? Okay, the first thing is, if you see this much of space you have in this spriting image, which is actually disturbing your look and feel. Unnecessarily, you need to do the bigger background positions. Instead of that, let us say into you go this guy. Now, if you say this guy into where are your images under IMG folder?
Yes, sir.
See here, you have given this much of width that all the images are capable of getting rendered here. So first thing is, you should not give this much of width, less than 120 pixel. See, now one image is going to come. Now you set the position of this guy. Why that guy is not moving? One thing what we don't understand is in your assignment when you're giving div guy class img. What is this img? Img is so and so. You should not give the width should be 120 pixel. But when I'm setting that div, why the other divs are getting occupied here? Are you using the img tag for anything else? Alright, the problem is you are using the same img class for float left and margin right properties, right? That is not valid. If it is an img container, only img has to be pulled. Nothing other than that. The complete template is actually wrong, Sonali. So first of all, you have this left container in container 1 and container 2. You have two of the, one is the header and one is the container. Under the container, there is one URL tag and one div. So this should not be the case, right? First of all, you should have OL as one of the container and you should have right side as a single container. Under that, there should be all children's. Got it?
Yes, sir. So I'll try.
Yeah. What you have to do is left right side, whatever the elements you have, all the elements you keep into one of the container and you keep those two as a float left and right. Now under that container, now all these divs has to come. Right now you have given all these divs with float left and all. So this is actually disturbing the look and feel. Okay. So please do that. And if you still have questions, let me know. Any other questions other than that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, in assignment 12B.
Assignment 12B. Assignment 12B, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number to find a lucky number 123. Okay. Inspect. Go for console. No result is coming. Okay. So what you have written? You have written do while. The syntax is completely wrong, right? Why after while you are again opening another block? We didn't discuss that. Okay, let me see that. Now, when you go to this do while, what is this? I mean, you cannot put a while like this, right? You cannot do this. While has to end over here itself. There will not be any further. Sonali, your voice is breaking. Okay, so if you do this, do while But why we are going with the do while here? You have to go with while only. Do while is not needed. Okay, if at all you have to find the lucky number, right? You have to say while number is greater than 0. Okay, you need to say reminder is equal to number divided by 10. I mean,
Sir,
get the number.
hello.
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
sir, if I will is do while, I think nothing will means incorrect. Means do
The
my
syntax
loop will
what you give.
if my condition is false, then
Have we discussed anything called as do while will be like this? This is the syntax itself is wrong, right? What is do while? Do while will not have any piece of instruction. Why you have given these instructions here? Do while has to be something like this. Here you need to end with a semicolon, right? This is your do while. But why you're giving this block again over here?
suppose repeating where if my sum is greater than 10, then I will add that. That's why I will give.
Yeah, but that syntax is wrong, right? What is your syntax of do while? Okay, we have discussed already. This is while. Okay, we are going to give something called as some condition, and we have some set of instructions. This is your while. How the do while is going to look like? Do some set of instruction, and here you are going to
Then
have
while condition.
while some condition. That's it. But why you are adding again open braces here, and why you are adding this? That is not recommended. That is completely invalid, right?
Okay.
That is what I'm saying. I mean, you can use while or do while, that is fine. But the syntax what I have used is wrong. Okay?
Okay, sir, got it.
Got it, right? So you want
Yes,
to
sir.
continue or you want me to
Sir,
solve it?
no, sir, I will try it.
Very nice. Good. Anything else?
Sir, in assignment 12D. Sir.
12D.
Yes, sir.
This one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please open my code once.
Okay. 12D is this guy, Armstrong number. Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually my code runs perfect, but I think code should be less time and space complexity. And I mean to say
Awesome.
that we should focus on that part. So how can
Okay.
I do that?
Okay, now in order to check whether an Armstrong number or not, what do you mean by an Armstrong number? Number like multiply with particular, I mean, cubic of so and so. That is not cubic.
Yes,
Power of so and so will actually tell you the individual digit
yeah.
power to the total digit. That is what we call it as Armstrong number. Now, instead of writing multiple while loops, you can do it in a single while loop. You know how? I say while, okay, instead of this, shall I do it as an individual example so that you'll understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me. Okay, guys, anyone whoever haven't done this Armstrong number, you can have a check on this. So first of all, what do you mean by Armstrong number? If I give something called as 153, so 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube again is equal to 153. That is what we call it as Armstrong number. Now, if I give 23, 2 power 2 plus 3 power 2. So the total number power of individual so and finding the sum should be equal to the same number. That is what we call it as Armstrong number. Okay. So in order to solve this, let us say script where n is equal to prompt enter a number. So once the user enters the number, we were actually converting into integer. But in before that, can I find the total number of values what it is having? Yes. Now I say length or len is equal to n dot length, which will return total number of values it is having. Okay, next. Now I go with the while loop. Okay, and now I say after calculating the length, n is equal to parse int of n. Okay, I say while n greater than 0, okay, while n greater than 0, remainder is equal to n modulus 10. Okay, you will get the first value. Now what I say, sum, where sum is equal to 0. Now I say sum plus is equal to whatever the remainder you got, it has to be multiplied and you have to get for the power of LN. That's it. Now once you are done with this, n is equal to n by 10. N is equal to parse int of n. That's it. Now when I say console, okay, now what I have to say, before converting this guy, can I take n into something else where temp is equal to some n? I will take it out so that once I'm done with this, if at all temp is equal to n, sorry, not n, it is sum, then I can simply say that console.log its Armstrong number, else it's not. Okay, save this guy, run this guy, open in the default browser, enter a number 153. Now if you inspect this guy, go for console, it's an Armstrong number. Now I say 123, it is not an Armstrong. As simple as this. Now it is optimized. I'm not using multiple while loop statements. Sonali, are you clear with this question? Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, why I don't think it means.
Sonali, I think your voice is not clear, ma'am. Can you please type your question? Your voice is actually dragging. It is audible but not clear. Okay.
Actually, sir, I want to say that you think like that, but whenever I think means it is lengthy. My process is too lengthy. Means
Yeah, that
how
is what.
I
That
could
is the
practice.
reason. That is the reason you have this, right? Now you are using multiple while loops. First of all, why you are running this while loop? You are simply checking how many numbers you have. In order to check how many numbers you have, unnecessarily why you are adding a while loop? Not needed, right? Instead of that, you simply find the length of that number. That's it. Now for the total number of values, then the simply while loop will be skipped off. Then your second while loop will be more than enough. That's it. You have done the same what I have done. Only thing is to find the total number of values, you're unnecessarily running an individual while loop again.
Okay, sir.
Got
Yes,
it?
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, in assignment will be.
Sonali, shall we do after the class? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I don't want others to disturb. Yeah, fine. Okay, let's pause for these questions. Come back to your previous, last class discussion, guys. Hope everybody got a chance to practice this Ajax call, right? How many?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us open the same example here. I go with 8 p.m. public. I have copied the same code again on here. DHTML dynamic product.html. Now I want to run this guy from the server. I say localhost colon 8081. Click on enter. Now if we say load product data, we have already seen how to handle when there is a delay from the server. We have already seen how to throw an error if there is an error while communicating with the server. Right, guys? Okay. Now, what I want to say is, if you clearly see here, okay, we are getting the data from the server. We are rendering the data. Super fine. Now, instead of running these guy from the local host, if at all I run this guy from direct URL from E drive, let us see what is the error we are going to receive. Now, whenever I click on this load product data, it is saying it is going to throw an error. What was that error? It is saying something called as cost policy. Okay, forget about the error. When I'm running these guy from the server, you are getting a response like getting the product data. But instead, when you're running it from the E drive, that is where it had started throwing an error. And now what is that error here? It is saying that CARS policy, access control issue. So what do you mean by this CARS policy? So according to the Ajax, with the security concepts, what actually it says is, due to security, it is not at all possible to do the communication between the cross domains. Okay, what it says is, due to security concerns, it is not at all going to allow the communication between the cross domains. Now, before that, what do you mean by a domain? Now, when I say something called as, say, for example, my URL is HTTP something called www.abc.com/test. Okay, I say HTTP testing.com, say something called this sample. Can you tell me what is the domain in line number 1? What is the domain in line number 1 URL? Come on, guys. Anyone? .com is not a URL.
.com. ABC.
ABC is the domain. Here,
ABC.
testing is the domain. Isn't it? So these are called as domains. Now, when I say localhost colon 8081, what is the domain?
Localhost.
Obviously, localhost is the
Local.
domain. Super fine. Now, what Jax is saying is, from where you are putting the request? Localhost 8081. Okay, super fine. To what web service you are hitting here? If you inspect this guy, go with the network tab. Once I click on this load product data, to what web service you are going? Localhost colon 8081 data products. Isn't the domains are same here? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If the domains are same, then we can create a communication between the client and the server. Okay, only if the domains are same, then you can create a communication between the client and server through Ajax or whatever it is. But now, when you are hitting from E drive, from what is the domain now? Obviously, E will be your domain now. Yes. Now, when the E is a domain, from where you to where you are hitting now, you are hitting to a local host. Are the domains are same there? No. That is where you are going to get an issue, something called as CARS policy, cross origin resource sharing. CARS means cross origin resource sharing. It is not possible to share the resources between the cross domains. That is what it means. Okay. Now what I need to do was, okay, but I mean, why the reason this is being introduced here? Okay, the reason why they have introduced is, assume this is one of the web page you have created. You are clicking on this, you are getting the product data. You simply published it. Some third party person can identify what is the web service URL. Yes or no? This is a web page what you have published outside. Can a third party person who is using this web page, can he monitor what are the web services you are hitting? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is possible. Remember, when we could able to go into flipkart.com, we could able to go into the amazon.com. There you could able to see how you are hitting that. I mean, what is the web service they are hitting? What is the response we are getting? Now, that doesn't, does that mean you can copy that URL and you also create your own web page and hit the URL? There is a chance, right? People will do that. Then where is the security? That is the reason what Ajax says is, no, it is not possible to communicate. Even though you get their URL, you will hit from your server. Obviously, the domains are not same. Then it simply throws a cross origin resource sharing access error. Okay, this is what the limitation of an Ajax. This is a very good interview question. People will ask you, okay, Ajax is the concept of hitting the server and getting the data. Super fine. Now, what is the limitation of Ajax? What all we can't do in your Ajax? The limitation is you cannot create a cross-domain communication. Okay. Okay. If we cannot perform the cross-domain communication, the next thing what I say is, okay, let us take a real time. Okay, first of all, everybody understood what is the issue we are facing and why the issue we are facing? Or
Yes.
any questions? Okay, everyone clear, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Now, what I'm saying is, let us take a scenario where cross-domain is needed. Practical example, assume there are two friends. Okay, one friend who is saying that one friend who is having the web page, he has his own web page, something called as abc.com. I have another friend, something called as pqr.com. Okay, my friend who is having his all the systems and resources under your pqr.com, another guy from abc.com. Now, what abc.com has developed one of the web service which can get all the list of country names or list of all the scientific book names. Now his team has done a lot of research and they could able to get the list of all the scientific books which are available in the universe. Super fine. Now once you hit that URL, you'll get list of all the books. Very nice. Now as PQR guy, what I will say is, boss ABC guy, as we are friends, or I want to put some handshaking with you, I will pay for you or whatever it is. I would like to hit the same service and I would like to receive the data. I want to hit your URL and I want to receive the data of all the scientific books. So how do I do that? So if at all he is asking a question, now ABC guy, what he will say? Okay, boss, this is what my URL is. You can simply make use of it. But even though ABC guy is going to give the URL to us, even though we hit the URL, still are we going to get the cars domain issue? Yes, because this is not the blocker from the server. It is the server, but Ajax by default, it is blocking the things here. But now what I'm saying is, as per our scenario, there is a handshaking between the abc.com and pqr.com. They both are agreeing and they want to share the data between them. Then how do you get the data? Now, in order to make the communication between the cross domain, now what I want to say is, this E page is right now, E is one of the domain. You are hitting to localhost and we are okay. I want the localhost to respond back to this guy. Okay. So in order to do this guy, we have two options in order to make the CORS setup, CORS communication to be possible, cross origin resource sharing between the cross domains. You want to share the resources. There are two ways here. The very first one, what you have is JSON-P data type. JSON-P data type. And the second thing is there is something called as CORS setup. In order to make cross-domain communication between the cross domains, we have two options. One is the JSON-P data type, and the second thing is CORS setup. Okay. So first of all, let us see what do you mean by JSON-P data type. Now, what I'm saying is, whenever you are communicating with your client and server, we are only receiving the data in the form of JSON format. Instead of receiving the data in the JSON format, if we could able to receive the data in JSON-P format, then you could able to make a communication. Now, before this, what is the difference between JSON and JSON-P? Let us have a look on what is JSON and what is JSON-P, the difference. Very, very simple. JSON, the full form is JavaScript object notation. JSON-P means JavaScript object notation with padding or parameter, we call it as. Okay, JavaScript object notation as a parameter, we call it as. Okay, what is the difference? Let us say I have a JSON object, say some name equal to Raj. This is what we say is a JSON object. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, super
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Now what I'm saying is, this is JSON-P If at all you have to make it as a JSON P here, very simple. Take this object, pass it as a parameter. Say, for example, parse data is one of the method. You're passing the JSON object as a parameter. These guy will call it as JSON P. As simple as it is. Any JSON object which is been passed as a parameter to any user-defined method. This is not predefined. It is user-defined method. Okay. Now, if any of the method is capable, if you are passing this object as a parameter to any of the user-defined method, we simply call that guy as a JSON P data type. Any questions between this JSON object and JSON P, guys? Anyone? And right now I have given only one property and one value. You can give any number of properties, any number of corresponding values. You can give methods, anything. But if that JSON object is coming as a parameter to a method, you simply call it as a JSON object. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Are you clear with difference between the JSON and JSON P?
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, by parsing, are we making any changes to the key value pair here?
No, nothing. That is what we said, right? As it is, the object is passed as a parameter. You simply call it as a JSON P. That's it. Nothing change in the object structure.
Okay.
Next. That's it. No more questions. Okay, super fine. Now what I'm saying is, till now, when I'm hitting this web service, where is our web service? You go into the network tab. Under the network tab, it is easy for you to get that, right? Under the network tab, this is the web service, what you're lifting into. Now open in a tab. This is the web service you are hitting. And you're getting a response. You tell me the response is in JSON format or JSON P format? JSON format. Directly object. There is nothing like a parameter or so and so. Okay. If I want to make it as a JSON P, what I will do? I will do the changes on my server side. Okay. Where is my server side coding? Okay. Web services are on what folder? Web services are on what folder?
Routers, sir.
Routes folder. Yesterday we have added this product details web service. Okay, now you open this product detail web service. Till now we are simply saying that response and the data. Now what I'll say, data is equal to say some parse prod data. As I said you, this is a user defined method. You can give any method name. Prod data plus something like this. That's it, nothing else. Now if you come back, reload the page, restart your server, come back to your service, reload this service here. Once you hit this guy, do you see the response as JSON or JSON P?
JSON P.
Everyone, so clear, right? That is how simple the difference between the JSON and the JSON P is. Okay, now we have done with the server is one step. What we have taken is server guy has modified the data format from JSON to JSON P. Okay. Now, what changes you have to do in the client side? In the client, sorry, not this guy. Okay. So in the client guy, what are the other changes you are expecting? The very first thing is, are we expecting JSON or JSON P from the server?
JSON P.
Obviously, JSON P. Yes, point number one. And the second thing is you need to specify another Boolean value, which is called cross domain, which is true, which is indicating that boss, you are going to communicate between a cross domain. And the third change, what you need to do is you need to specify JSON P callback. What is the method we are going to receive from the server as a callback? What method we have added in the web service? There, whatever the method you have added, simply specify as a parameter to this guy. That's it. So 2 steps, guys, in order to make a cross-domain communication. First step is at the server side, instead of returning a JSON, they have modified the changes to return a JSONP object. Super fine. Second step, at the client side, in your Ajax call, you have to do 3 changes. What is that? Data type has to be JSONP, cross-domain has to be true, JSONP callback, you need to specify what method has to be invoked. As simple as it is. Now, if you save this guy, come back over here and reload the page. Now, if you click on this load product data, I'm getting the loading image and I should able to get the data. So if you see the magic here, I'm hitting from the E drive. Earlier, when I'm hitting the E drive to a local host, which is a cross domain, it was throwing the CORS issue. But now we could able to handle that CORS issue by introducing the JSONP data type communication. Any questions? Is everyone clear what we have done? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this communication is very much important when you go into the real time, because when you go into the real time, not every time you guys will be creating the web services. There are sometimes third-party web services are going to come. That is one case. Second case, right now, what are we doing earlier? Both local host and services also from the local host. You are the one who developed the UI, you are the one who developed the web services. Even though you are the one who developed the UI and the web service, both might not be kept inside the same server. We, in our case, we kept in both in localhost 8081. But in general, they create a separate server for web. They create a separate server for services. They create separate server for etc. things. Now, when there are 2 different servers, obviously cross-domain issue is going to come, right? So that is where you can make use of this solutions. One is JSONP data type communication. So this is a very good interview question. People will ask you, what is the difference between the JSON and the JSONP? When do you go with JSON? When do you go with JSONP? Any questions? Can we go to the next topic? I mean, next step, CORS setup.
Yes, sir.
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let us see the next step, which is, the second step is setting up the CORS configuration. So what do you mean by the setting up the CORS configuration? Now I will tell you the first, another option, another case is, let us take, there are earlier example, there were 2 friends, ABC and PQR. Now both are doing some changes and they could able to communicate from each other. Super fine. Let us say there is an organization like google.com. Okay. Google is going to provide lot of third-party APIs. API in the sense, obviously, I can call a web service as an API, REST call, lot of names I can call it as. Okay. Now, when Google is providing those number of REST APIs or REST calls or web service URLs, you see, I say, for example, Google is providing 1,000 web services to the world. Now, everyone who is subscribing the Google APIs or Google web services, does the both have to do some changes in order to subscribe them? Yes. Google, first of all, their response, they have to change from JSON to JSONP. And whoever is subscribing the data, they have to change the $.ajax method from receiving the JSON to JSONP, and some changes has to be done. But now what I'm saying is, why don't I change the configuration of the Google server itself to accept any type of request from any type of domain, which is called as CORS setup. Okay, so what is going to happen is, whenever you put a request to the server, server will check that whether it is same domain or not. If it is not the same domain, it will simply throw it as a CORS error. Now, what I want to do at the server side, I want to do some configuration changes so that even though there is a cross-domain request coming to the server, I should able to respond back to him. That is what we call it as CORS configuration. Okay, CORS configuration. Let me take out this, paste this guy, save this guy. I want to save this guy existing one. I don't want to delete. I want to make it as JSONP, app.jsonp, and another one is app.js now. Okay, now under this guy, I want to remove this cross-domain communications. I don't want to make it as JSONP, etc. stuff and all. Okay, I will keep this as JSON only. And the same way, when I go to the server side, I don't want to respond in the form of JSONP format. It should be in a JSON format only. Now, if you restart your server, npm start, go to the server, reload the page. Okay, the response is it is JSON or JSONP, guys?
JSON.
JSON. Okay, nice. Now, what I want to do is, now if you reload this page, once you click on load product data, obviously you should able to receive the same error CORS policy. As usual, we already know that. Now what I want to do, I want to change the configuration of my server so that anyone who hit this guy, they should be able to receive it. So how I'm going to change the configuration? For the Node.js, we have CORS setup set of instructions. Okay, let me show you. There are some set of instructions need to be copied and pasted. CORS configuration, express CORS middleware. Where are those? Node.js CORS setup. Yes. So this is the one. You simply copy this line of steps. Okay, I will even paste you in the chat, guys. You can take it from there. Okay, what I need to do is copy those instructions, go to app.js file, which is your server file. See, under the server, we already have app.js file, right? Under that, after app.listen, not app.listen, before this, you simply paste this. So what do you mean by this? Instead of your domain, you simply put something called as asterisk. Asterisk in the sense, any domain. Okay, for Google, there is nothing specific that you will be only for so-and-so domain, right? You can fit for any of the domain. Now, if you save this guy, okay, come back here, restart your server, go to your UI page, reload the page, click on load product data, no JSONP here. Again, cross domain. Still, I'm getting the data. Yes. Why so? We have modified the configuration of the server so that it will hit or it will respond to any of the requests, not only for the same domain. Am I clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Everyone, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Okay. So today the topic what we have discussed is very, very, very important, guys. Cross domain, I mean, Ajax call is one part, but again, Ajax, what are the limitation and how we are overcoming it? And what are the two ways? One is JSON and one is JSONP communication. Okay. So make sure everybody is so clear. Now I'm pausing this communication between the server and the client, guys. So do you feel anything still gap that you feel that, okay, boss, I mean, when there is a communication between client and server, something else has to be done. One thing is DB communication, I haven't done, and sending the data from the server, from the client, we haven't done. Client is putting a request, server is responding. So if you ask me a question, what if client have to send some data, server have to put into the DB? These things we see when we actually go into the Node.js. Other than this, if you feel anything missing or you want something else to be discussed, please let me know. Is everyone okay with this client and server communication?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, nice, good. So coming to the next topic of this, when you go to the jQuery, as I said you, in your jQuery, there are lot of predefined methods. Okay, the very first thing what you need to look into your jQuery is selectors. So till now, whatever the topics we have seen in your jQuery, actually not the main use of jQuery. Because remember when I said jQuery, its main intention is in order to interact or in order to implement the DOM operations. In order to simplify the DOM operations, you have